There's a lot of advice out there about what you should and shouldn't be doing when it comes to Pinterest, and it's always changing. How viewers interact with your pins majorly impacts your reach, which is why it's important to know the difference between clickable pins and savable pins. Hi, I'm Liz Stapleton from ElizabethStapleton.com and host of the Blogger Breakthrough Summit. Welcome to the Blogger Breakthrough Podcast. In today's episode, you're going to be learning from blogger and Pinterest guru Carly Campbell. This snippet is from her session at the 2021 Blogger Breakthrough Summit. If you want to learn more from Carly, find out how to catch her entire session by heading to bloggerbreakthrough.com/podcast deal. Let's get to the episode.
We're actually today talking about clickable versus savable content. We'll actually get onto the topic we said we were going to do.
I was going to say, from the end user perspective, that's the user who's deciding whether or not your content is clickable or savable on the platform.
Yeah.
And before we talk about clickable versus savable, we kind of have to understand what clickable and savable mean inside of Pinterest.
Yes.
So clickable is the kind of pin where somebody is going to click through the pin and go to your site. Savable is the kind of, and I'm talking about the idea of, not the actual function of the pin, which we can also talk about.
Yeah.
But like, is the idea of the pin an idea that somebody is going to say, I'm going to save this picture, this image for the information on the pin so I can refer to the information on the pin later?
Yeah.
Or are they saving it thinking to themselves, I'm going to refer to the information behind this pin later?
Yeah.
So a really good example is an infographic versus a informational article.
Yeah.
So you'll save an infographic for the information on the pin.
You're probably not clicking to the content though.
You're probably not. You're right. All the information is right there on the pin.
The other example I always think of are quotes.
Yes.
Like, I do a ton of quotes. I get all sorts of saves and no clicks. And you're like, well, why would they click through?
Yes. Yes. No, totally. And I read the other day that, and I might get this wrong, but I think it was 30 million people per day save quotes on Pinterest. Pinterest was the one like pushing that stat out as an amazing stat. And I'm like, that's great for you, Pinterest. Yeah. That's not great for me.
Yeah.
Savable content is good for Pinterest. Clickable content is good for you.
Yeah.
And you have to remember that there is a difference.
Yeah.
So savable content will not hurt your account, like putting out quotes, putting out infographics, putting out instructional videos where people watch the video to see the process.
Yeah.
That will not hurt your account because they will get distributed through the platform. People will save them. That's fine. Yeah. They're not going to help you as a blogger get these two things. Clickable content, on the other hand, is content that requires the person to click through to the other side to really get what they're after. This would be like informational article where you have a really good title that inspires a click. Yeah. You can have an informational title with a terrible article, or a terrible title that doesn't inspire a click.
Yeah.
Instructional content where you leave out the last few steps. So like it's fine to do an instructional video.
Yeah.
You know, show the first few frames of you doing something. Show the last frame of the completed project. Don't show them the really important part at the end, and then on your last frame you can put click for instructions or click for complete instructions.
Yeah.
If you want to encourage that click.
Yeah.
However, with the end user in mind, I've been finding lately that sometimes, you know, as bloggers, as Pinterest experts, we always say, don't bother pinning pins without text on them. Because text is, you know, encouraging to the clicker.
Call to action, yeah.
Yeah. However, we've been finding that sometimes the title can be all that is required. The little title underneath the pin can be all that is required to encourage a click when the image checks the right boxes. So, for example, a finished craft project, right, with no text over it.
Yep.
but in your title underneath, it says complete tutorial for this thing the picture is of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because the title appears underneath the pin, if you are taking advantage of that title, those plain images can be both savable and clickable.
Yeah.
And that is the winning combination on Pinterest.
Yeah. I see that with one of my clients is a food blogger. And so comparing when I do the title on the pin versus just the image of the food, because she's gorgeous photography, like it's different results in terms of saving versus clicking, but it does bring in traffic too. So it's kind of it's interesting to look at that. I've been experimenting with that as well.
Good. That's exciting to hear, because the thing about clicks and saves, and we actually had somebody bring this up in my mastermind group the other day. She had this beautiful pin with thousands of clicks. And she said, I feel frustrated that Pinterest isn't giving this pin more feed time. Everybody's clicking it. But the fact of the matter is Pinterest has flat out told us in their algorithm, saves are greater than clicks. Which means a pin with more saves will get more distribution than a pin with more clicks.
Yeah.
So if you can utilize those beautiful no text images to get the saves, they'll get the clicks by default because that's what's out there.
Yeah.
That's what's getting feed time.
Okay.
Yeah. So sure, the one with the text on it might outperform if it was getting the same feed time, but it might not get the same feed time because saves are greater than clicks.
Okay, hopefully this episode has helped give you some new ideas to optimize your Pinterest game. Be sure to join me next time when we explore how to be ethical and honest in affiliate marketing with Leanne Scott from Passive Income Superstars. I'll catch you next time.